we can go right ahead and talk about the first segment, which is going to be all about Kristaps Porzingis. And the reason why it's going to be all about Kristaps is because he's played on both the Dallas Mavericks, the team that he has to play in the finals. He's played on the Knicks, the team that the Pacers ended up beating in the semifinals, and now he is on the Celtics, where he's playing in the NBA Finals. Now, the fact that Kristaps, he was out for a majority of the third playoff series, as well as some of the second playoff series, for whatever reason it might be. It was mainly due to injury, but he did sit out in game 4 of the previous game against the Pacers, simply because he didn't want to avoid any further injury in that series, which would have prevented him from playing in the first game on Thursday night, which brings us to this question in the chat from Lil Fettuccini. He's asking who's taking the game on Thursday night, and I mean, now that there's Kristaps in the rotation, and now that he's back in the starting lineup, there was a little bit confusion coming in from me, and I was worried on some parts of the game where it's like, okay, I mean, there's a possibility that the Celtics, regardless whether they have Kristaps or not, are going to end up winning in game 1. But do I really want to pick them until I know that Kristaps is going to be healthy? So, I mean, I've had the Celtics winning the series for the longest time. I mean, I hope they don't, but for the sake of getting the right picks, I think that the Celtics are probably going to end up coming out in as the winners in the first game. They do have home court. They have home court advantage. They have much longer time to rest. They have all the prep time they could possibly ask for this one game. So I think they have the best chances of winning game 1 and starting out the series rather strong. And I mean, come on, they have home court advantage. This is a team that absolutely thrives when playing. I mean, granted, I can't really say that they thrive in playing in the home court, because their only losses in the playoffs have been on home court. So it's a little bit like, again, but then most of the time they've gone undefeated in game 1s. So I think game 1 is definitely like their best chance of winning a game in the series. If they are going to win at least one game, it's probably going to be the first one. And like I also see, like, throughout the rest of the series, now that they have Kristaps, I do see them completely utilizing their all of the assets that they could possibly have in the starting lineup. We didn't really get to see much of that in the previous I guess you could say playoff series, but the players that came off the bench, mainly Al Horford, he made most of his minutes count. He became the oldest player to hit 7 3-pointers in a single playoff game, which is very impressive in of itself. And obviously, being a big man and that is known for his jump shot, it's a very rare skill in the NBA. And the fact that he's as old as he is while still being able to provide some sort of impact for the Boston Celtics, it's nothing short of impressive. Definitely something that they needed from him. And it's like, really, what more can you ask? Like, there's really nothing more that you can ask from him, given just how impactful that Al Horford has been throughout the majority, especially when Kristaps has been injured for most of the series. Now, given that Kristaps, it's been a while since he's played, there's also the possibility of him being a little bit rusty going into the finals series. Now, this is sort of like the big problem that I have with these games, and the fact that it takes so long for the next playoff series to start. Like, it shouldn't be taking this. It should not take this long for Game 1 of the NBA Finals to take place. It should be happening either today or Wednesday, something like that. The day should be adjusted just in case, like, if the series goes, or if the previous series, like, the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals, if they don't end up going to 7 games, or if they don't end up going to 6, or if they don't even end up going to 5, then the finals days should be moved. Because, again, the two matchups before the finals, they ended in a short amount of time. They ended in 5 games, respectively. I mean, they ended in 4 games for the Celtics, 5 games for the Mavericks. So you could have given the Mavericks a whole weekend to rest, and then maybe either today or Monday would have had one of those playoff games being already played. I mean, I don't understand why wait so long for whatever reason it might be. I genuinely don't understand why wait so long for just to play one game. And this wait, it really has me annoyed, because it's like I'm sitting here wanting to talk about NBA basketball, but I can't talk about NBA basketball because there is not a single game going on. So that kind of stinks, and it's really unfortunate. So, I mean, that's basically all that needs to be talked about for this game. Thank the Lord that there's not going to be a single asterisk being put on this series, because one of the things that I don't really like about how this playoffs has been progressing is the fact that the 2 teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, a lot of people are putting asterisks on their achievement and the fact that they made it so far, because they're giving the Celtics an asterisk because they played against the Cavs team that wasn't 100% healthy, as well as playing against the Miami Heat team that wasn't 100% healthy, and even the Pacers that weren't 100% healthy in their series. However, the Indiana Pacers, on the other hand, they also played an injured Bucks team as well as playing an injured Knicks team. So both of those teams are, like, if we're going according to asterisks, they're where they're at simply because of injuries. And in my opinion, I don't think that's really fair to the teams that have made it that far, because it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why are we discrediting all of the good things that these teams along with these players are doing? It's just not fair. It's not how it works, and it shouldn't work like that. Now, that's my opinion on it, but I can't really say much about that. So with that, we are out of time for this first segment. So now we will go ahead and go into the second segment, where I talk about the where the Pacers would go from here, seeing as how their regular season and their postseason runs has come to an end. So I will be right back after this short break. Be sure to stay tuned.